Sound off. It's interesting people saying interesting things. Yesterday, our buddy Louis Riddick suggested A.J. Brown and the Eagles are headed for a divorce.
We all know that you like to have good players. But what we all know also is that there is something in terms of fit, chemistry, culture, whatever word you want to put on this, that just is not working here. This relationship between this player and this organization, this player and the head coach, whatever it is, just seems to always be in a state of turmoil. I wouldn't bet on him being there this year. I would bet that A.J. Brown is somewhere else.
So I tend to agree with that, Dominique, and every time I said it before I went on vacation, I heard people say, you don't give away great players. It's very hard to replace great players. You don't get better by letting great players walk out the door. And I would argue that the way things have gone there, as talented as he is, he really hasn't been able to be a great player for whatever reason. Do you agree with Louis Riddick that the expectation is that A.J. Brown will not be in Philadelphia next year?
Yeah, it feels that way. And I think obviously all of us, our instinct is to go with the talent. But one thing we always tend to overlook in our fantasy focused way we evaluate sports is that there's an interpersonal dynamic that is often more important than the talent dynamic that you can only sustain for so long. And it seems that it's pretty clear that there's some mismatch there, which is unusual because it's not as if they don't target A.J. Brown. It's not as if he's not getting 1,000-yard seasons, and it's not as if he's not good, but it's still like something about that organization or that connection seems like it's kind of missed. Even when they're winning Super Bowls, there was always some tension between A.J. and the team, or at least appeared to be tension from us from the outside.
Absolutely. Look at the Jedi mind trick that they played on all of us. The man was reading a book on the sideline, and they convinced us it was no big deal. They had us having conversations up here like, oh, no, he's reading a book. It's a very normal thing to do. It's how he's channeling outletting his frustrations. And we were all like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds good. I guess everything is just fine. No. When a wide receiver is reading a book on the sideline, everything is not okay.
No.
D-Wood, what team should be all over themselves trying to get A.J. Brown out of Philadelphia?
New England. New England makes so much sense.
Oof.
Obviously, Mike Vrabel. That was his former coach when he came into the league with the Tennessee Titans. New England needs a number one receiver to go along with that young stud they got with Drake Maye. So, to me, that would be the natural fit. I think Mike Vrabel is one of the best coaches at knowing how to connect with players, obviously because he was a former player. So New England makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, I love the New England one, and it's definitely the right call. He played for Mike Vrabel. Those guys have a very unique relationship. I have two more for you. Buffalo Bills, number one. Los Angeles Chargers, who have a ton of cap space right now. This is a team, the Los Angeles Chargers, in my opinion, that a lot of people better watch out for because they can add pieces to the puzzle across the board within their roster. From the draft, free agency, A.J. Brown, and you now have Ladd McConkey, who can be a number 2 wide receiver. I think that fits more of his bill. But a guy outside that can be a pass catcher, catch the 50-50 balls. I still believe A.J. Brown is a top 5 receiver in the league. Don't sleep on the Chargers.
All those make sense because they're in the AFC. You figure if you're the Eagles, you're going to want to get him out of the NFC. Give me one reaction to all of it, Nick. If indeed he is going, which of those fits jumps out to you?
Yeah, I hadn't heard much about the Chargers. I really like that as an idea because they still haven't necessarily put a top number 1 receiver out there for what Herbert can do in that situation. There's the cap space to make it happen. I'd like to see that happen. But, of course, what the Patriots are doing as they build and reuniting with Mike Vrabel seems like a perfect fit also for A.J. Brown.
Okay, so we'll see what happens with him. And then we go to Minnesota. Vikings reporter Kevin Seifert posted this yesterday. The comments were not on camera. But Kevin O'Connell was talking about whether he still views J.J. McCarthy as a franchise quarterback. I'm going to read this very closely for you. A lot of those feelings are still the same. It's just the timeline is in a different place for all of us than it was in 2024. That's a very general statement that applies quite literally to everyone and everything. Dominique, the timeline is in a different place for all of us than it was in 2024. That might just apply a little more specifically and in a different way to him and his quarterback.
What I've noticed and I'm surprised by is I really respect the fact that coaches and GMs, they really don't want to lie to us. And I don't get why not. Like, just go ahead and lie to us, because it feels like trying to do these these cryptic ways of telling the truth. It just makes it sound even worse, and it seems pretty obvious. If someone asks you a direct question, is this your quarterback of the future? Do you think he's a franchise quarterback? If the answer is anything other than yes, it's going to look pretty bad. And I think it makes it obvious that they're looking pretty seriously at finding someone else to replace J.J. McCarthy, and maybe they'll come back to him later, but I don't read that out of the comments from O'Connell right there.
A lot of those feelings are still the same. It's just the timeline is in a different place. Yes, in 2024, the timeline was J.J. McCarthy is a high first-round pick. And in 2026, the timeline is we're seriously considering a 43-year-old Aaron Rodgers to come save our bacon. What do you think?
I think if I'm J.J. McCarthy, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble right now. I mean, a part of his own doing because he can't stay healthy. But when your head coach can't even endorse you to be that guy to lead your franchise, yeah, you better believe they bringing in someone this offseason to take your job, buddy.
See, here's what I want to be careful of. So, Harry, help me walk this line. We have seen NFL teams give up on quarterbacks much too fast, so many times, right? Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, you all know the list. We could run through it. We do it all the time. So there's a part of me that has this sort of cautionary tone in the back of my head. Don't be ridiculous. He's barely played. He's barely had a chance to sort of scratch the surface of what he might be able to do. And then there's the other part of you that watched it last year and said it looked so bad at times that it almost made you think they have to do something a little bit right.
Yeah, Greeny, I was one of those people who got to watch it up close and in person because I had 2 games on ESPN Radio calling the Vikings game. And the one in particular that I remember versus the Baltimore Ravens. Listen, Justin Jefferson, in my opinion, like I said earlier, is the best receiver in the game. And there were like 3 or 4 routes where there wasn't a defender 3 or 4 yards close to Justin Jefferson, and the ball just went out of bounds. And I got to give a lot of credit to him being the number 1 target that didn't blow up, because 99% of number 1 targets in that situation would have lost their damn mind. But he did a great job keeping it together. I don't think Minnesota should give up on J.J. McCarthy. I just don't believe he's the guy right now. And Kevin O'Connell, the proof is in the pudding. He's pretty much saying that without saying that.
Yeah.
Like, he's not the guy right now. It's going to take some time.
Nick, are people, if people are giving up on J.J. McCarthy, are they running the risk of doing it much too quickly?
No, I don't think so. And I think that is a little bit misleading when we do that thing and we name all these quarterbacks who've had like resurrections at different places, because you have to include that they're at different places. When you start naming me the quarterbacks that have had really bad starts and you stuck with them in the same place and then they turn it around, that's an argument you could make. But I think that part of the thing that we have to understand is part of those guys getting better is going on that journey. The things they learned and picked up and experiences from doing that, I don't know that you can assume that just because if the Jets would have kept Sam Darnold that he would have gotten much better.
Okay, that's fair. I'm going to come back to all of that. I got to get to the hoops here. So everyone stay where you are. But, fellas, I want you to watch the Knicks and the Cavaliers.